Hey everybody, I know it's been a while. I do want to be making tutorials again. So the other day I thought about this because I want to make tutorials and I want to do like more crafting videos. If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments down below. But I really want to get more videos and I want to just get them like scheduled to upload. So yeah, I don't mind filming because like I said, I have quite a bit of videos filmed. It's just the editing part that just kind of like, I'm just like, ugh, you know, because editing does take, you know, a while to do. So, but I'm just going to try to do like quick and easy videos that I can just get out to you guys. I want to do a lot of like crafting videos and stuff like that. So I know it's been a while. I haven't been on. I think my last video that I posted was like 3 months ago or so, 3 or 4 months ago, and it was like for the ruffle anklets. Yesterday I actually did film another video on some ruffle anklets, and it's these ones right here. So let me know if you want me to post that one. So what I was thinking of doing is just like maybe filming myself making orders that I get, like orders that come in, and even if it's like the same tutu that I've made multiple times, like let's say like just like the regular ribbon trim tutu, maybe I can just film myself like making those tutus and then uploading them, because I know it could probably give other people some ideas on like different styles or like different colors or something like that, different color combination styles or whatever. So let me know if you guys think that's a good idea. Like whenever I get orders in, if I should just like film myself, you know, making those orders, if that'd be something you guys would be interested in. But yeah, so that's what I kind of want to do. So today I'm going to be making just like the regular ribboned trim tutu. It's just going to be different shades of pink. So yeah, it's for an order for somebody's birthday. So yeah, and then let me know if you want me to upload that tutorial that I did on the ruffle anklets, because for some reason I forgot that I had already made a tutorial, so I did another one. But yeah, so I will be also making tutorials on like my sewing projects, like the rompers and the skirts and the dresses and all that kind of stuff too. So let me know if you guys think that's a good idea. So let's go ahead and get started on this tutorial on this order. Today we're going to be making a ribbon trimmed tutu. I actually already cut one end straight here. It's going to be for a size 5 and she wants it a little bit longer, so I'm going to cut it a little bit longer. Typically for like a size 5 I would make it like maybe 12 inches long in length, but she wants it a little bit longer than that, so we're going to go ahead and cut it a little bit longer. She wants it to hang more like a dress than like a poofy skirt. So I got light pink tulle, and I got this off the bolt, and I got 6 yards of it because you can get 2 pieces from this. So because I want to make I want to use 12 yards. Usually for like a size 5 I'll use like maybe 14 yards or so, but since she wants it to hang down more like a skirt, I got a little bit less to let it hang down and not poof up so much. And so I'm going to be using 12 yards to make the size 5. I'll put all the measurements in the description down below for all the other different sizes, but for this one, that's what I'm going to be doing. And like I said, I already cut this end over here just to make it a straight line, so I'm going to go ahead and cut, because usually the ends are like not that even. So I'm going to go ahead and cut on this side here just to even it out. And then we're going to go ahead and sew the ribbon onto the end. Okay, so I have my tulle here. So it's just going to be like one big piece here. We're going to go ahead and fold that in half and line up the end that opens. And then on the other end that's folded up here, we're going to go ahead and put that into the sewing machine, and we're going to sew at the 1 inch. We're going to sew 1 inch down from the folded end because our elastic is 1 inch wide. So go ahead and do a little back stitch there at the beginning, and just go ahead and stitch down. I like to make the stitch like the widest stitch, so just sews faster, and you don't need like such a tight stitch on here. Plus it's easier on the tulle if you have a wider stitch versus like having such a tight stitch, because then it ends up just like bunching up. So hope my camera doesn't die because it's already showing signs that it's about to die. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and sew the casing for the elastic all the way down all of the tulle. And I'm using a light pink thread right now. And just keep folding as you go, and make sure that this end over here, the end that you're folding, make sure that it stays even. Doesn't have to be perfect, but try to get it as even as possible. Now these tutus are very quick and easy to make, very simple and easy. Just a straight line all the way down. Okay, so we're coming up on the end of the first piece here, because like I said, I bought 6 yards, but it makes 2 pieces. So we're gonna sew all the way to the very end of the first piece, and then we're gonna get the second piece here, and we're just gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna attach them together, because I know I get questions on this all the time, like how do you add multiple pieces or different colors or whichever. So yeah, we're going to do the same thing with the second piece. We're going to go ahead and fold it in half, and then we're just going to place it on there again at like the 1-inch mark, and then just continue sewing. Very, very, very simple. So that way it's all together. It's going to be 12 yards of tulle for 1 tutu. I'm just going to go ahead and sew down the rest of this other 6 yards, and I'll show you when I get to the end. Okay, so I had to charge my battery because the camera did die, so I wasn't able to record sewing the end, but it's just the same. You get to the end, you backstitch and everything, and then now we're going to sew the ribbon onto the ends of the tulle on this side. So on this side, the tulle separates into like 2 pieces. So we're going to sew ribbon on one end and also on the other end. You're going to want to have the pretty, if you have like a design, have the pretty side face down. And then we're going to go ahead and start sewing onto the end of the tutu. And it's just going to be like the same concept. Just straight line all the way down. And until you get to the end, and I'll show you when I get to the halfway point and how to attach the 2 pieces together, because I know, like I said, there's 2 separate pieces. They're 6 yards each. So yeah, so let's go ahead and start sewing. So we're coming up on the end of the first 6 yard piece. Okay, so now you're going to want to add the other piece, like if you have separate pieces, you're going to want to add it the same way that you added this one. This one, the casing, I have it face down. So you're going to want to do the same for this piece too. Make sure that the casing, whatever direction you have it in, make sure that it's facing whatever direction you have it in. So I'm going to do the next one facing down, so that way I'm sewing this onto the same piece, so it doesn't come out all twisted and wonky and messed up. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, I'm using 1.5-inch wide ribbon. It's satin ribbon. You can use whatever kind of ribbon you want. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you prefer or whatever your customer prefers. I typically like to use satin. Sometimes, depending, I can use other kinds of ribbon, like the gross grain or whatever other kinds of ribbon. But most of the time I prefer satin. It just looks more elegant and pretty. So, but like I said, it's up to you. So we're going to go ahead and keep sewing until we get to the end, and then we're gonna sew again on this end of the tool. So in total you're gonna need 24 for this one, for this size, since I'm using 12 yards of tulle, you're gonna need 24 yards of ribbon. So I also wanted to mention that if you run out of ribbon, like this one, for some reason, it's all one continuous piece, but for some reason this piece came cut on the spool. So you just come close to the end here, and you're just going to add the other piece of ribbon right there. Make sure it's lined up, make sure it's even on both sides, and you're just gonna continue sewing. Okay, so I'm coming up on the end here, and what I like to do is, before I get to the end, I like to measure where the tulle ends, and I'll just get my scissors, just clip it. It's just easier just to sew one continuous piece, and then just clip it when you get to the end, especially if it's really long, because sometimes the measurements might be off just by like a few inches or so. So I just do that, and then I heat seal the end, and I just keep sewing. Back stitch, and then you take this piece off. Okay, so now we're going to sew on the other end. So I'm going to bring all this back down. Oops, I'm throwing things around over here. Clip the string off of this end over here. Okay, so now how we're going to make it so that the ribbon is all facing the same way. So I have this ribbon, the ribbon is face down right now. The tulle's here on the back, and the casing is also face down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this end, I'm just going to like fold it in half, and then I'm going to put the ribbon the same way and make sure I sew the ribbon the same way onto this other piece. So that way the ribbon is facing the same direction on both pieces of tulle. You don't want it to end up like one facing one way and one facing the other way, because then it's just going to look silly. So I'm going to go ahead and put my ribbon onto the sewing machine. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it's facing the same way, and then I'm going to do the same thing, just sew all the way down. Okay, so we have all of the ribbon sewn on the ends of the tulle, so it's a big bundled mess over there. So yeah, so now I'm holding it up right, so the ribbon is down here, the casing for the elastic is going to be up here. So what I did is I have 1 inch of the non-roll elastic. It's always best to get non-roll for these tutus. I usually use non-roll for like all my clothes that I make and stuff, and tutus and stuff. It's just sturdier. It's just higher quality and stuff like that. So get the non-roll elastic. This is 1 inch wide, and I'll put the measurements on how long you're gonna need for each size. I'll put that in the description down below, so that way you can determine what size you want to make and how many inches you're gonna need of it. So I have a safety pin pinned to the end of the elastic, and we're going to go ahead and feed it through the casing of the tulle. So you're going to go ahead and get your pin, push it through there, and then go ahead and start pushing your elastic through. So I like to push see, it's already inside the casing, so just start pushing it through. If it's not moving, then adjust it. So I push it through all the way to the very end of the elastic. I leave it maybe about 1 inch or so outside of the tulle. So I'm going to fold that over. I always fold it over, and then I'll get like another safety pin or like a clip. I usually just use an alligator clip, and I'll clip it onto the end like that, so that way the tool doesn't come off the other end. You don't want the tool coming off the other end, because then that just defeats the purpose of putting the tool onto the elastic in the first place. And so now we're going to go ahead and just start feeding, I'm gonna move this down. Start feeding the tool onto the elastic. You're gonna take the tool, push it onto the pin, and then you're just gonna pull it on this end, just like that. And you're gonna end up putting it onto the elastic, and you're gonna want to do that for all the tool until you get to the other end. And I like to just kind of like shake it out and try to straighten it out as I go. It's not necessary, you can do that at the end, but I just like to do it because it just makes it easier at the end to straighten out all the pieces down here, because they're going to get bunched up, they're going to get twisted and stuff like that. But it's not a big deal as long as you keep this part straight onto the elastic, and that way at the end we can adjust the rest of it. And this usually just takes a few minutes. It doesn't even take that long. Okay, so I have almost all the tool on it. I just have a little bit left, so I'm going to go ahead and push the rest of it on. Slide it onto the elastic, and you're going to want to have this hanging out a little bit. And so now what we do is you twist it into a circle, bring it together. Be sure to hold on to the end here, because when you take this clip off, you don't want the tool to like start sliding off the other end. And then you're going to push the tool on like this. Make sure that the elastic is hanging outside of the tool several inches, and then you're going to want to make sure that the elastic is all going in the same direction. You don't want it to be like twisted in there and everything. So now we're going to overlap it about an inch or so. And I like to, you can run it through your sewing machine. I sometimes hand stitch it, or depending. Usually I'll run it through my sewing machine, so I'm going to go ahead and run it through my sewing machine. So have it overlapping about an inch, like I said. And then turn it this way, it makes it easier. Place it on here, and then I'm just going to stitch down the middle, and I will go back and forth like 2 or 3 times. What fell? I don't know what fell. Okay. And then back stitch. And then there, and you're just going to clip. Okay, and then what I like to do is I like to get my glue gun, and I'll just glue down these ends, or like I said, you can hand stitch it, but like these flaps that are sticking up, I usually like to glue those down so that way it just keeps it flat, and then we can go ahead and move the tool, even it all out. Okay, so I glued down the ends, and now we're just going to, and by the way I have it so that the pretty side is facing outwards, so we're going to just take this and just kind of tug at it, and you want to cover up this side. You can use white or whatever color you want to use for the elastic stitching it, but in all honesty you're not really going to see it if you cover it up pretty well. So since it's all super bunched up back here, we're going to want to unbunch it as so tightly and just even out the tool onto the elastic. And if it seems a little less bunched in some areas, just kind of keep moving it around, just mess around with it until you get it the way you want it. And then for the ends, the two end pieces, like these two end pieces down here, you can sew them together or just glue them together. I'll usually just glue them together. Like these two top ones I'll glue together, and then the two bottom ones I'll glue together. So that way it's not like flopping around everywhere. But like I said, that's up to you. I typically glue them together so that way it looks nice. And now what we're going to do is we're going to even out these things. See how it's kind of bunched up here? You're just going to grab the bottom and you're just going to tug it. Just pull it down, and it straightens it out. So it's not, so it lays more flat and it's not all bunched up. And I usually go around and do that to all of it and just kind of pull it, because like I said, it just bunches up. I grab from the bottom too and the back, and I do the same thing. All the loops. Like I just go around, going along, just tugging, tugging, and tugging, just to straighten it out. You can put this on your mannequin and do it on the mannequin if you want. Like if it was twisted, like if you saw that it was twisted upwards like that, you just kind of adjust it. Make sure everything's laying flat and smooth. Like see, like right here. This ribbon, I'm just going to take it and just flip it back front facing. And just keep doing that all the way around. Like I think it's all twisted in here too. Yeah, see? Like right there. Can you guys see that? It's twisted. So I'm just gonna flip it. Sorry. I'm gonna flip it and lay it flat. Just like that. And just continue going around and tugging. So now we're gonna go ahead and add a bow onto the elastic part of the tutu. I made this bow, I just kind of tied it to like a cute little bow, just like how you do like with your shoe. I didn't do anything fancy, so I just tied it, and I heat sealed the ends. I did the ends at like an angle. So yeah, I typically don't like putting it in the middle. I like to put it off to the side. The back, the seam that we had sewn up for the back is back here. Everything that's like the two ends that I had glued together, they're in the back. So I'm going to put this here up onto the side. I like to stitch it and glue it both together. So I'm going to use my needle and thread. We're going to put it through the back, through the elastic, right through the middle of the elastic, and then on the back of the bow, I'm going to stitch it through like that. And by the way, the bow is glued as well. Like I have this part glued to here and I have this part glued to there, so that way if the child pulls on it, it doesn't all come undone. You can stitch it, glue it, whatever you choose to do. So pulling that through the back, and then about 1/2 inch or so away from where you put it onto the elastic, you're going to stick it back through to the back like that. And then I like to take the needle off because I end up losing my needle in the tool. And then we're gonna just kind of like pull it, not all the way. So I pull it to where it's almost to the elastic, like this. And then I like to get my glue gun and I'll put like a dot of glue on the back of the bow, like that. And then I'll press it onto the elastic like this. And then I'll pull the thread tight. And then I kind of wait for like the glue to dry. This just gives it a little extra security instead of just hand stitching it. So yes, and then we're going to go ahead and tie the string in the back here. Like double, triple knot it is what I like to do. Just like to. And this is for the tutus that are on the elastic. This is how I attach them. And then you're going to get your scissors and you're going to clip it. You can use a thread that matches. I've just used green on this one. You're not going to see it. But yeah, you can use a thread that matches, but that's up to you. Okay, and here is what it looks like on my mannequin. So I just put it on the mannequin, and I kind of, again, just like tugged at the pieces, and I kind of just adjusted it to make it look straight and nice. And this is another easy way to do it. If you're not going to take pictures, it's still an easy way to do it. Have it put onto something and just like kind of mess around with it, so that way it straightens everything out. So it came out really cute. I love the color combination with the light pink and the dark pink. And yeah, this is a size 5, so it's a little bit bigger. It looks a little kind of big on my mannequin because my mannequin is a size 12 to 24 months. So, but yeah, came out really cute. And if you guys would like to order one instead of make it, all my social media is in the description down below. My Facebook page, my Etsy, my Instagram, all of that. You can actually place an order through all of those. You can just message me, and yeah, or you can just go ahead and follow me on my social media if you want to as well. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, like I said, you can message me on my social media or leave a comment in the down below. And I'll see you guys for the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.